Hey guys, what is up? NFL Weekly here, and today I'm going to discuss what I thought about the Seattle Seahawks game against the Vikings. So yeah, let's get started. So right off the bat, I saw some epic blowout from the Seahawks. I saw the score go from 7-0, break 14-0 to 21-0 to 28-0 pretty fast. I mean, the Seahawks just demolished them. They just crushed them, and they really showed. They showed up away, and they said, it seemed like they just said, we're going to crush you in front of your fans. And they did. And, it's sad to say for Viking fans, but they basically did nothing. They did have the touchdown run, but, they got, no yards, it seemed like. And the Vikings, one or two times, got past the 50, and they couldn't really do anything. So the Vikings they just couldn't do anything in this game, and they were stalled up, they were pushed on against, and destroyed against the Seahawks. And we see that score, 38-7, not the prettiest. Seahawks go to 7-5, Minnesota Vikings go to 8-4. And Seattle Seahawks are, they were second in the NFC, and the Vikings, I believe, are still first in the NFC North. But we all can agree that game was basically a blowout, and it was nearly a shutout, except for that kick return that the Vikings got, that was snatched away, and that was the only score they got. And Seahawks, they got quite a few calls, especially in the first half, that set them back from scoring anymore. They got the field goal at the end and turned into a 38 lead, or actually more like a 28-point lead until the Vikings scored, and then they got touchdown or whatever. Then they got the field goal at the end. But Seahawks just put up a game. We can all agree, and next week at the Ravens, I believe there's going to be another shutout, or not a shutout, but a destruction of a game, because the Seahawks have got their game together, and they play at home and they win, and they just do so good. And so if they keep this up, they'll be doing great. The Vikings, they better start working on that passing game. I'll tell you that. And by the way, that running game was stalled up against every time. So Adrian Peterson wasn't really a factor in that game. No one seemed like they were on the Vikings side, but everybody was on the Seahawks side. Great defense, great offense, great game by the Seattle Seahawks. Let's move on to the stats here. Let's move down here. So the Vikings now are basically, here's their stats. Let me see if I can get this. Here we go. So the rushing yards, off to the right there, 146.4, which is their first. That is first in the NFL. All right. Passing yards, 186.8, 31st, which is pretty horrible. Not the worst, though, but definitely not the best. Yards per game, 333.2, which is 28th. Also not the best. But, they pulled out quite the wins, obviously, 8-4. Points per game average, 21, which is 26th. Also not pretty. But the team seems like they've been pretty clutch all year. But, they've had their fair share of losses. Their fair share of wins. And that last game was total destruction, sadly, for them. And as you can see, they moved to 8-4. So, there's the Vikings. Let's move on to Seahawks there, as you can see. Seahawks aren't the best, but they don't have the best stats, but they definitely have relatively good stats. Points per game off to the left here, 24.3, average 8th. Yards, 373.8, which is 8th. Also, passing yards is 229.6, which is 23rd. Not great, but they've clearly shown they can pass and get touchdowns, especially against the Vikings and also against the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. And rushing yards, finally, they're second, right behind Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings are first, but they have 146.4. Seahawks only have 144.2, right behind them. And Seahawks obviously won, and so now we got Seattle Seahawks who move up to 7-5. Great team. So overall, guys, Seahawks are rising up. If you're a Seattle fan, you better be happy. Viking fan better be disappointing. Better be disappointed because they gotta work on that. Teams are starting to focus on that running game. Seattle Seahawks are just a really good team. Pulled that one off away. But I'll tell you what, that game was something special for Seahawks because they finally put together a win that they really truly appreciated. I feel like, because all other ones have been snatches or losses that have just been disappointing. This one was an official one they could put a mark on and say, you know what, we won. And Vikings definitely have things to work on, but Seahawks, I mean, they played their best. And, you know, we saw a pretty good game by the Seahawks. And yeah. So thank you guys for watching. Overall, I saw the game. Pretty impressed by the Seahawks. And, thank you guys overall. Thank you for everything. Thanks for watching the game. That's all. And, once again, have a great week. See you next time.